Now, US President Donald Trump has claimed that India will stop buying Russian oil. Important information coming in as the US President has said that India will not buy Russian oil. This is a statement coming from the US President Donald Trump, who said that in fact PM Modi has assured him that India will stop its purchase of Russian oil. Important information coming in as the US President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had assured him that New Delhi would stop buying oil from Russia. In fact, the US President has called it a big step in his push to isolate Moscow over the war in Ukraine. Important to understand that the US President, while speaking to reporters at the White House, said that he had flagged concerns with PM Modi about India's continued imports of Russian crude, which Washington believes helps fund President Putin's war. Important to understand that the US President has said that he's spoken to the Indian Prime Minister, who has assured him that India will stop purchase of Russian oil. Let's in fact listen into what the US President had to say.
I think they were great. He reported to me that he's a great man, you know. Modi is a great man. That he loves Trump. Now, I don't know if the word love, I don't want you to take that any different. I don't want to destroy his political career, okay? But you have to understand, I've watched India for years. It's an incredible country. And every single year you'd have a new leader. I mean, some would be in there for a few months. And this was year after year after year. And my friend has been there now for a long time, and he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. I don't know, maybe that's a breaking story. Can I say that? Would you say? There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You know, you can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process, but the process is going to be over with soon. And all we want from President Putin is stop this. Stop killing Ukrainians and stop killing Russians, because he's killing a lot of Russians. Again, it doesn't make him look good. It's a war that he should have won in 1 week, and he's now going into his 4th year. That does not make this big so-called war machine look good. But he could make a settlement. We're willing to settle. I thought we had a deal. The hatred of the two leaders is very, you know, it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle. There's no question about it. But I thought we had a deal 2 months ago. Who would think I created peace in the Middle East and can't get the two guys to settle? But I think we'll get them. But if India doesn't buy oil, it makes it much easier. And they're not going to buy it. They assured me they will. Within a short period of time, they will not be buying oil from Russia. And they'll go back to Russia after the war's over.
Well, on this, my colleague Vishal Vivek joining us for the telecast. Now, Vishal, important statement coming in from the US President. He's in fact talked about how India has decided, as per him, to not purchase Russian oil. Now, has there been any clarification from the Indian side?
Not really. So far, we have not heard from the Indian side as to what they think about this statement coming from Donald Trump, because this is a huge statement. He's clearly stated that India has stopped buying Russian oil. Indeed, they will stop buying Russian oil in a short span of time. They are in the process of doing so because he says that it's a complicated affair, and it is indeed a complicated affair. But some certain US media and the British media reached out to the Indian embassy in these regions, but they have not received any response. And this is overnight. These comments came during overnight hours. So we'll have to wait for confirmation on this from the MEA, the Ministry of External Affairs. But this has been a contentious topic. If India has agreed to stop buying Russian oil in a short span of time, that will also be one of the biggest points in the war, because it has killed close to hundreds of thousands of people. And if indeed that stops the war, that will be really big development, because they have also said, the US administration has also said that they will also put some pressure on the Chinese administration so that they can also stop buying the Russian oil, because they are indeed the biggest buyer of Russian oil. India comes only second. So this is what has happened. They want to put pressure on both the countries buying Russian oil. But it won't be so easy, because India has clearly stated that it needs to buy Russian oil because it needs to support the economy, and it has stood its ground. And it wasn't too long ago that the US itself had told India to keep buying Russian oil because that would support the overall economy. So it's a sort of a messy situation. We'll have to wait for confirmation on this.
Right, absolutely, Vishal. And I also wish to understand from you, many people have also pointed out the US's hypocrisy when it comes to buying Russian products itself. And of course, this statement comes after, we've had some sort of a murky territory with the US when it comes to tariffs, when it comes to H-1B visas. So where exactly do we stand when it comes to our relationship with the United States?
Is now on the mend. We had seen the ties hitting new lows in the last few months, where we had Peter Navarro, the top trade advisor of Trump, coming in every day and giving out those incendiary statements one after the other. But he has stopped now. We haven't heard from him in the last few weeks, almost a month. And Trump has also sort of toned down his rhetoric on the Russian oil. He's not talking about that so often. That sort of indicates that the relationship is now on the mend, and both the leaders, both the Prime Minister and the President, they have exchanged greetings every now and then and expressed that they are friends of each other. So the ties are on the mend, as I mentioned, but it will take some time to get back to the basics, get back to the drawing board, and get this tie back on track, because mind you, India and US are some of the biggest allies on the world stage. The 25 years that in both the countries have spent together, they have taken their ties to the next level. And this latest Russia-Ukraine war situation has sort of jeopardized that ties. So it's on the mend now, but it will have to be discussed through various means to solve this problem.